Hello everyone, welcome to another live hangout here at Voice Essentials, the fifth last hangout of the year. That's crazy. It's crazy because this week it's November. Like, where we say it every year, don't we? And I feel like the older I get, there's that old sort of thing of, you know, the older you get, the shorter the years become. And this year is no exception to that. This year it just feels like, man, I can't even remember where the middle part of it went. Like, it's just gone. I hope wherever you are that you are healthy and safe, and you know, the importance of those two sentiments, healthy and safe, has just recently been brought into stark contrast and reality with everything that's going on in Gaza. Yeah, it's a tragedy that's happening over there at the moment, and so I hope that where you are, that you're safe and doing okay. And also, we learnt yesterday of the tragic death of Matthew Perry. And it's funny because we, you know, the Matthew Perry, for those of you, gee, I hope this is not a spoiler alert. Well, it's not a spoiler alert. It's you know, I hope I'm not the first to be telling you this news, but Matthew Perry played Chandler Bing in the massive TV comedy sitcom Friends. And it's interesting because over the last 4 or 5 months, we've been watching Friends with our kids on Netflix, and it's sort of like we've, in one sense, introduced them to the show, and so our children have started to interact with the timeless show that it is, albeit, you know, being sitcom. Yeah, so it was my son who came in yesterday to tell me of Matthew Perry's passing, and wow, these things that just happen unexpectedly. It's yeah, every year has a range of those events, doesn't it? So I do hope that you are healthy and safe wherever you are. 5 weeks to go. Let me give you some insight into what's happening over the next four. After today, we're going to do a Q&A today, straight Q&A. So Linda has put up a question, and I'm hoping that we get more questions. We're going to answer Linda's question. Linda deserves to be the first cab off the rank today with all the work that she does for us here at the channel. So we're going to answer Linda's question first. The way you get your question answered, if you've not joined us before, is you have to be a subscriber to the channel, and then you can post a question, which we will then, regarding voice, regarding singing, and then I will do my best to answer that question. And we answer those questions in order of as they come into the live chat, and you can see the live chat. I'm going to say is that oh, I got it right. The live chat happening over here, and so if you absolutely must jump the queue and have your question answered before everyone else, and you can do so by adding a super chat to the live chat stream. But of course, you can't do that if you're watching this show as a replay. A big hello to you all. Those of you, the majority of you who watch our live hangout every week, you watch it as a replay. Of course, we meet here and we will be meeting here for the next, after today, the next 4 Mondays. We'll be meeting here. We meet here at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, at 1 p.m. on a Monday. And the Australian Eastern Standard is important because some of the other states here in Australia have got daylight saving. Where I am, in Queensland, we don't have daylight savings, so be sure to check your local guides. Okay, so today's a Q&A. Next week we're going to do another mini topic followed by a Q&A. As you know, we generally try to fit the Q&A in towards the end, answer a few questions. The week after that, we have our final special guest for the year, Professor Brian Gill. I've got Brian locked in almost as a regular last special guest for every year now, and he's amazing. He really is. He so knows his stuff, and so I'm looking forward to spending just hanging out with you and with him in 2 weeks' time. On the 20th of November, and for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, for many of you this will be the 19th of November, but for the 20th of November, we're going to do our final whole show Q&A. The week after that, it's the 27th of November. It is going to be our final show. And Linda is going to be joining me again. To sort of do an overview of the year, look back, reminisce. It has been a fantastic year. And we've covered so much ground. We introduced the mini topics this year, which I hope you've enjoyed. Let me know in the chat if you have. I hope you have. And where we've looked at a range of different things, and like I said, we're going to do it again next week. And then we're taking, as you know, every year we take all of December and all of January off, and so our first live show back. Just wanting to let you know, so you can put it in your diary. We'll be back Monday, the 5th of February. 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and we'll get back into things in February. I have been a busy little beaver. I have been recording a whole heap of reaction videos so that over December, January, there will be 3 videos pretty much every week. Nearly every week. I think I decided not to do Christmas. I'm pretty sure I did. And also I'm going away for a week of camping, and so I decided not to post any videos except my Christmas video, a Christmas song that I recorded yesterday. That'll go live in that week, but anyway, for the most part, every week there'll be 3 videos, 2 reaction and 1 educational. Well, the reaction videos, the analysis videos are educational, but the reaction videos are a bit different to my instructional. Let's call them the instructional videos, which go live every week as well. So there you go. So there's going to be plenty uploading onto the channel that'll keep you busy over the time that we're not hanging out live, and so I hope you enjoy those. There are some fantastic singers that I've never reviewed before, that you'll get those first analysis videos over the December-January period. And wow, you know, because you hang out with me regularly, that I was very, very, very hesitant to do reaction/analysis videos. I feel like I'm in a bit of a groove now as far as finding my own way of doing it. I hope you're enjoying them, but can I tell you that I'm really starting to observe some of the true benefits of them from an educate. I know, never let it be said. I said that I'd never do them. No word of a lie, I've had a number of my private singing students here in the studio and online who have been saying, oh, and you know, I watched X/reaction video and I learnt this and I observed this and you pointed this out. So there you go. The learning part of me is just how beneficial they've been. And so I hope they're being beneficial to you as well. Last week, of course, we were not here at all. I was in Sydney, about 1,000 kilometers south of where I am, and that's about 600, 700 miles in the that measurement system. I'm in the metric. Anyway, about 1,000 k's south is Sydney. Many of you know Sydney. I was there with my daughter. She was at a biomed competition. Her school team, there were 5 young people in that team. They won a couple of the sections, which was very exciting for a national competition. So we were at Sydney Uni, but the day before we got an opportunity to walk around Sydney Opera House on its 50th birthday. Can you believe the Sydney Opera House is 50 years old last weekend? Yeah, last weekend. Crazy. We've got Halloween in the next couple of days. You know, I saw Linda said to me in an email. Linda emails me every Monday morning and lets me know that we're all good to go for the show. And she mentioned that it was a couple of days till Halloween. You know, funny thing, in Australia, and those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, particularly in the US, you'll find this unusual. But Halloween's not really a thing here in Australia. It's becoming a thing, and the retail world, you know, would like it to be a bigger thing, because then they can sell all of the costumes and all the paraphernalia that goes with Halloween. But it's not really something that I really celebrate, as in we don't kind of do that. But I know many of you do, and so I hope you all have what do you say? Do you say happy Halloween? Is that what we say? I don't know. I'm an Aussie. I have no idea. So happy Halloween. Let me know in the chat of what am I supposed to say? Happy Halloween. Be quick about it, because otherwise anyway. I'm going to move on. Finally, before we get to Q&A and Linda's question to kick off, Secret Singer Christmas Song Exchange, which is happening on the Facebook group. This blows my mind. I honestly, and Kathy, if you get a chance to watch this, you are amazing. Kathy Snyder, one of our moderators in the Facebook community and here on the channel. She a couple of weeks ago, she moderated for us here on the live chat. She lives in Canada. You know, these people I would never know outside of Voice Essentials. Kathy took it upon herself a couple of years ago to create this thing called the Secret. I have to read it because it's such a big. The Secret Singer Christmas Song Exchange, like a Secret Santa kind of deal. And I think our numbers are bigger this year for participants. There are 32 people who put their hands up to say, yes, count me in. And so what happens? And I think it might be a bit too late to participate. You could jump onto the Facebook group and message, ask Kathy to see if you really want to participate, whether it's too late or not. Kathy's in charge of this one, so Kathy's doing it all. And what happens is Kathy chose a song for each person. Well, no, anyway, they exchange songs. I was so thrilled when a student who I kind of knew was observing some of the stuff going on in the Facebook group, but one of my private students came in. Not Linda, I know, is participating, but not Linda. Someone else came in and said, "Oh, hey, I'm going to be a part of the Secret Singer this year." I was just like, I said, "Wow, that's awesome," and I think it's just a wonderful community event. There's no pressure. You can record it on your smartphone. It doesn't have to be highfalutin, high production value. It's just an opportunity for us to celebrate the festive season. It's a mixture of religious and non-religious Christmas songs. So there's no issue there as far as being forced to sing something you're not comfortable with. It's just fantastic. And so once again, a big shout out. Thank you to Kathy Snyder for putting this together for us, because I honestly, I just I just saw Linda's comment. SSCSE for sure. Linda, that is not helpful. That does not help me at all. It is shorter, but it's not easier to remember. So it is all just for fun, and yeah, we do need some right now, Linda, from your comment there. So it just thrills my heart. It really does. And I said to this particular student, at the end of last week, when she told me about it, and I just said to her, I'm just so in awe that when I put the Voice Essentials Facebook group, it's called Voice Essentials Community Facebook group. When I started it, I had no big plans for it, other than just, creating a space. It has been the members of our community, not me. I've done some things that have hopefully nurtured and cultivated the community, but the life of the community are ones like Kathy, ones like Doug and Matt, and a whole heap of people who regularly post and comment and reflect. James Larkin, these are names that I'm sort of grabbing at, who regularly engage in that community, that I just think it's just amazing. I really just am so thrilled that I'm also so thrilled that we've been able to maintain it as a safe, encouraging, nurturing space. That it's not a place where, it's just self-promotion or, with wrong ambitions, wrong agendas. And so my hope is, as we step into the new year, Linda indicated it's 8 weeks today until Christmas, which means it's 9 weeks today until 2024. Stop it. So we're not far away from 2024, and my desire is that we continue in the vein that we have, and how could we not with like I said, 32 people putting their hand up to post their carols / Christmas / festive songs. It's awesome. It's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna stop dribbling at the mouth. Well, I probably won't stop dribbling at the mouth. I'm just going to start dribbling out the other side now. We're going to go. We're going to go to the Q&A straight after this. Okay, here we go. So, Linda, who gets the first question for today. And I see we've got some questions coming in. That's awesome. So, Linda, I actually have a question, Dr. Dan. Do you, Linda? False vocal cords, which I'm in the habit of referring to as false vocal folds, how much of a role do they play in our singing? Are there techniques specifically involving them, and can you exercise them? How much of a role can they play? Well, they can play an advantageous role. They can play a disadvantaging role. That didn't make sense. Yeah, you know what I mean. Positive and negative. The false folds, so we have true folds. I actually saw the question earlier. So I'm going to see if I can show you here. So this is Lenny, the larynx. That's looking at Lenny from the front. That's looking at Lenny from the back. The reason I give him a male gender voice name is because this is an adult male, 2.5 times to scale of an adult male larynx, quite specifically. So looking at it down the throat, right? So this would be the front of the person. So here we've got your true folds. This muscle here, the red, can you see? I'll open, these two things here are the arytenoids. And when the arytenoids actually sit like a rider on a horse over the edge of the cricoid cartilage. When we, so when you can see me opening the vocal folds there, they don't open like that in real life. That's just the shortcomings of the anatomical model. When they open, so you can see the red part is the thyroarytenoid muscle. It's the body of the vocal fold. Now, sitting, not shown on Lenny here, up above and to the side, which is at the moment basically space within the model, there are, so these, the ones down the middle are the true folds, I should say, and the ones, the stuff that's not there is the false folds. And it's a mass, a massive membrane that sits sort of up and to the side within the vocal tract itself. And they play a role in the primary functions of the voice. So a lot of people don't realize that the primary function of the larynx is actually not phonation. That is the creation of sound for speech or for singing. The primary role of, and there are kind of three, well, there's two for men and three for women. The primary role is firstly, is for valving. It's a protective process. Well, not valving, is a closing off of the vocal tract to protect the airway, to ensure that you can't get anything down there. The two valving functions are for lifting, so we create intrathoracic pressure when we valve. So the epiglottis comes down, the false folds close and the true folds close, and we get a locking of the mechanism. It increases intrathoracic pressure and gives us strength. If we removed your larynx, you would really struggle to lift anything. Your muscles would not be able to build that intrathoracic pressure that they require to activate strength. We do the same kind of activity, that valving process, when we defecate, when we do a number two, a poo. So that's the second one. And for ladies, for women, during childbearing. So when a lady is giving birth, then there is a very strong need to valve to push a baby out. And so there's the three primary functions of the larynx, and the false folds are involved in building weight in behind the true folds for that. That they're all actually very positive attributes of the false folds in their, party of that process. There's some, when it comes to singing, because the primary function of those false folds is to bear down and create weight in behind the true folds, when we are first learning to sing, there can be, in some singers, not in everyone, but in some singers, we can observe a habitual response of the false folds to bear down on the true folds and create what we refer to as supraglottic constriction. Supra being above, glottic being the space between the vocal folds is the glottis. So above the glottis, constriction, tightness, tension. And so we have to really make sure that that is not an active response. One of the ways we reduce that response of the false folds is by improving our subglottal pressure, the pressure below the glottis, and reducing that pressure point called the phonatory threshold pressure to ensure that there's no need for the false fold to come across and grab at that pressure to hold it back. And so that can be a negative. But you can, and we do see this in contemporary vocal, you can use that activation of a slightly engaged false fold activity to give us what we'd refer to as a pressed vocal value. And we do that by actually increasing the threshold pressure. And so it's a thing to remember in contemporary voice. It's never a matter of right or wrong. It's a matter of managing in accordance with what is the aesthetic you're looking for. Now, when we do this, if it is habitually driven, that is, you have no control over that, that's going to be a problem. There will be a problem, because your natural tendency is just going to grab, and it's going to create constriction. But if you are doing it intentionally and you know how to manage your air, we look at this sort of thing in Voice Essentials, the Voice Essentials program. Breath management is such a key part of the development of your voice, and therefore it is a very key part of what we do in the Voice Essentials program. You can check the online courses out in your own time through the description section below. When we learn to manage our breath, we can alter the pressure. We can manage, that's why we call it breath management. We can alter the pressure in accordance with how much pressed value we want. And so these are really important things to be able to do. False fold constriction can be, if it's just left to its own devices, can be really problematic, and can create a lot of wear and tear on the voice. It's not something that we want happening just willy-nilly. We want it to be, fully managed. And so as far as exercising that, Linda, then we're probably looking first and foremost to your sense of breath. But then we can also go looking to workshop our belt activity, because belt allows us to load the voice in a manner where we can create that pressed value alongside the belt, and figuratively speaking, it's not alongside the belt anatomically, and we can exercise it that way. And so I hope that's helpful, Linda. If it isn't, you can ask me in our private lesson. We can further clarify and go from there. Let's come down to, I think this is the next question from Loopy After Dark. you and a lot of people. Loopy, what is the easiest way to learn how to do a death scream? I've had some training in a large range. By that, do you mean you've had a large range of training, or you've got a large range of vocal? I'm not certain, Loopy. Death scream, it's interesting because you could fall into the trap of thinking that, when we think about what we're just talking about in regards to pressed vocal, false fold activity, that, you just have to energize that, and that's death scream is going to be about more push. Actually, for a lot of distorted vocal, what Melissa Cross refers to as disturbed vocal values, it's actually about reducing the pressure, and we actually activate that sound on a much lower flow of air than you might otherwise think. And Loopy, if you've not had the chance to check out Melissa Cross's work, I'd encourage you, Zen of Scream, go and check out her stuff. She is the preeminent voice, along with Catherine Sutherland, who takes a slightly different approach, but I want to acknowledge Catherine Sutherland's work as well. CVT, Complete Vocal Technique, I think is her stuff. But certainly I know Melissa has had a lot of success with a lot of singers working on these more extreme vocal values, and I encourage you to go and check that out. Okay, coming up here too, I think this is the next question. Hey, make sure you you leave your questions in the chat, because currently Lahan is the last question. Could prove to be a shorter show. Lahan, and I hope Lahan is that the way I pronounce you? I hope so. Hey, Dr. Dan, does supported singing cause acid reflux? What can I do about it? Big help if you can answer. Do you know what, Lahan? It's interesting, and I think, and I'm going to say anecdotally, because I haven't personally read any specific research on this topic that tells us yay or nay. However, it is my anecdotal observation, my anecdotal professional belief that yes, I think a big part of why singers experience seem to observe acid reflux more so than the general population is because we do tend to place more downward pressure on the diaphragm. You have your esophagus passes through the diaphragm, and there's a sphincter muscle called the esophageal hiatus. And I suspect, though this would have to be shown in research. So Lahan, what you don't want to do after what I'm about to say is be categoric in saying, well, Dr. Dan said X, Y, Z. This is a hypothesis, and it would have to be proven through research. But I think there is a weakening of the esophageal hiatus due to the increased motion and tightness, pressure of the diaphragm while we sing because of the intrathoracic pressure that we create as singers, because we create that we're talking about it before. There is an increasing pressure in the lungs when we sing, and so I wonder whether we are, as a result, causing a weakening. Now, this is not going to happen in every person who sings. Human beings are beautifully, wonderfully diverse anatomically, and so for some people becomes a real problem, for other people never an issue. But I wonder whether in myself, because as I've shared here on the channel many times, acid reflux is something that I had to learn to manage. And, sadly, I learned to manage my acid reflux kind of after my professional singing career. Oh, if only I had have known how to manage acid reflux and my allergies while I was professionally singing, I think my professional singing career would have been a little easier going. But nonetheless, it took me a little while to learn to manage my reflux. But I do think that in part, one of the challenges that exacerbated my acid reflux was that heightened motion and activity of the diaphragm. So that's how I would answer that, Lahan. I hope you're hearing kind of what I'm saying there. I don't want to be categoric. It's more my anecdotal observation in myself and of my students over the last nearly 30 years. Can you believe I've been teaching 29 years next year? 29 years. When one stops to think about that, one can understandably feel a little old. So Lahan, I've just seen your response there. Thank you so much. What are you saying there, Lahan? Let me just come up here to. I'll take your advice. Yes, advice being loose, you know. And with anything medical like reflux, it is so important. I really want to stress this. It is so important that you talk through these things with your medical health professional. I am not a medical doctor. I am a singing voice specialist, and I very much try to stick to my lane as a non-medical professional. And so when it comes to things like reflux, in one sense, the impact on your voice is the least of your worries when it comes to reflux. Reflux, if left unchecked, if it continues to be a problem, a chronic issue for you, can lead to esophageal cancer. I'm not saying it will, I said it can. And so that's why we really need to get on top of it for your overall health, not just your singing. And that's why, you know, you kind of got to talk to your family doctor about these things, because there are bigger things at stake than your singing, than, you know, when it comes to reflux, when it comes to allergies, when it comes to any, you know, this is one of the challenges for us as singers, is we are a biological instrument. There's no getting around it. And you know, I think, unfortunately, some people here online, not here at Voice Essentials, I'd like to think, but some people here online on YouTube kind of sort of circumnavigate that fact. You know, they, whether it's simply that they conveniently don't acknowledge the fact that we're human beings, we have limits, but those limits are what make this singing thing so rewarding, is because we have to really work through and with those limits. And I certainly think it is. And so when we see ones like we are in the vocal analyses videos that I've been doing, when we're able to observe singers, you know, blowing those limits out of the sky, it's very exciting. Very, very good. Okay, we are going to wrap it up, because we are nearly out of, we're nearly out of time, firstly, and we're also out of questions for today. That's okay. Next week, we're going to do a mini topic. I've got something in mind, so you'll have to tune in again next week to find out what that is. The week after that, Brian Gill. The week after that, Q&A. And the week after that, the 27th of November, lights out. Final show for the year. We'll get to engage with the wonderful Linda as a part of that show, and that'll be awesome. Let me just come back over here, and so I do look forward to hanging out with you for the next 4 weeks. 4 weeks. Happy Halloween. Did anyone? I'm just coming back down to see. Did anyone give me the? Do we know? I'm looking. Did we say yes? Is that how we say it? Happy Halloween. I can't see. Oh yes, here we go. Linda's saying it has become a thing over here. Yeah, kind of. We don't say Happy Halloween. Oh, Linda's saying she doesn't say Happy Halloween. What about everyone else? I don't know. Anyway, who knows? Linda and I are just, you know, we're Aussies. We don't know. We're uneducated. We're uncultured when it comes to Halloween. Anyway, I hope you have a good week if that's what you're going to celebrate. And we will catch you again next week when, as always, you'll hear me say, I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.